I've been a sponge just like I was in that huddle with the San Antonio Silver Stars, and I learned the benefit of like really knowing you're in the room for purpose. Like whenever I walk in the room with someone, you meet a lot of cool people, but you have to remember you're cool in there too. It's not who you know, it's who you are, and that's enough. You
Mm.
always.
Welcome to the Champion This podcast with Brianna Salvatore Dueck and Chelsea Poppens, where we share the incredible stories of athletes and entertainers who are using their platform to create positive change in the world and the communities they live in.
And today we have Adrianne Ross. She's a fellow former WNBA and overseas pro hooper. Her and I are Vegas Aces alumni, San
Yes.
Antonio Stars OG alumni. She's also a TCU alumni and Hall of Fame inductee. Back in 2018, she was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And she's currently a CEO and creative director of Style by Studio 33, where she channels her love for fashion into her work as a stylist and creative consultant. She's also Adidas Global partner and stylist, as well as the founder of A-Train Basketball, where she trains, coaches, and mentors young athletes. So welcome to the show, Adrianne.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Excited to have you.
Yeah.
So, to kick it off, Adrianne, we want to start with really kind of taking us back to that first moment when you fell in love with basketball. What really sparked your passion and love for this game? What drew you to the game?
I would say I'm rooted in it. Like, I've gotten to know myself through basketball so much. And like now that I'm not playing anymore and I have to go back and like really reflect. And I'm like, I was really rooted into basketball. Like my hometown, it's a big basketball town. Everyone knew that. My family played, my brother, my sister, my mother, my dad, like everybody played the sport. So I was always around it. So it was like kind of there by nature. I'm always curious to know like if my older brother wasn't 2 years older and just always like pushing me to play and things of that nature, I wonder if I would have went another route because I was always
Mm.
wondering. But yeah, just kind of being rooted in it, it given me purpose. Like I didn't love basketball right away. I think I loved everything that it came with, like friends and purpose and
Yes.
coach, or I feel a part of something. And so I kind of like stuck with that. And then as Chelsea kind of read my bio, I was like, I really do the most. But it all like started with like that, just feeling that purpose and.
Yeah, but it's like it's going to tie into your story very well because like you are the queen of entrepreneurial and not sticking to just one label of who you
Yeah,
are. Like you kind of dabble in all of the things. And it's really
yeah,
cool because I'm from small town. You're from Hobbs, New Mexico, which is
yes,
also very
yeah,
tiny. And to see
yes.
like all the things that you're dabbling in is like truly inspiring, especially for people from small towns like ours.
Yeah, that's really
Mm-hmm.
cool to hear because it's like I do feel like when I do it, it's bigger than me because I didn't have like the kind of representation I am now. And so
Mm.
even when I wear my cowboy boots and things of that nature, everyone's like, it's a trend. I was like, no, that too is in me. This is
Yeah.
my town, it's a part, and that represents so many other people that can relate to that. And like when I blended with style or with things of that nature, now other people can see how they can blend. And
Hmm.
so I'm pretty sure we'll talk about style, but
Yes.
I had to hone in on like that small town, just we get it in a different kind of way sometimes.
Oh yeah, that was
For
kind of our
sure.
next
Yeah.
question anyway, talking about your
Okay.
second passion was that fashion and your style and everything you love about that. But how did you kind of step into the fashion world or what drove you to really just lean into it and kind of find your style, find your personality and letting that show?
I think the more that I just became like comfortable and confident in things, it was just showing up in other places. Like I'm growing up, I was a tomboy. Like I used to get
Mm.
clowned on for all I wanted to wear was like AAU t-shirts, and then I
Yeah.
always wore basketball shirts. Yes, and I would think it was something like someone said I played like a girl. I took it as a
Yeah.
compliment, and I was like, "Oh, woman power! I'm wearing this to
Yes.
school." And like that's all I really cared about because it was like purpose in the clothes. Like I felt like I was wearing that experience and things.
Mm.
And then I started getting into like thrifting and being able to I grew up in a single parent household. My mom was holding it down. So we had to be creative. So it was like details. I'm going to cut the sleeves. Okay. This time I'm going to wear it tucked in. This time I'm going to wear it with something. So I always had that, and I think the more like self discovery I had, I came into it. But it's interesting because even in my small town, when I was going and trying to choose what college I was going to play for, I chose TCU because I was trying to get also to that fashion merchandising program,
For
So
sure.
and
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Oh, you're going to play basketball," and I had to make sure they knew I was doing fashion too. Like I was just
Mm,
starting to tap in, and I was curious. I didn't have the exposure. Social media wasn't there. I didn't necessarily even have the confidence. I was very curious, and I would get clowned on at school like, well, what do you got them red shoes on with this shirt now? And I'm like, oh, now it's color blocking and cool, okay,
It's style.
but I loved it, because it was just me. It was quirky and stuff. So that's
yeah.
always been a part of me. And basketball's kind of given me like opportunities to kind of like channel that, places to
Mm,
go. Even growing up and wanting to play in the WNBA, I was always asking myself, like, oh my goodness, like I can't wait to play in the WNBA. What will I wear on the red carpet? Who will I be
so
dating?
cool.
Like I was always this, but like it was those experiences that really kind of like the more I leaned into fashion. And I think I
Mm,
mentioned, I've said this before, but I've never dreamed of styling. It's just like, it just started coming together and maybe an inquiry, someone seeing me, maybe you can help me. And I'm like, I really can help a lot of people, and it's also helping me be like, um, it's a tool. Now I have these relationships. Now I'm getting opportunities like Adidas where I can see, okay, yeah, obviously I have this creative styling background. I get it. I'm us,
mhm.
but I'm also able to see what else I can do. Oh, I can definitely do this. Oh, that just has needs a title, So
Yeah,
the
for
more I
sure.
like kind of risk it, put it out there, I'm like getting to kind of share this information to tell other people how
Mhm.
they can do the same thing. I'm a risk taker, so sometimes I'm just like figuring it out, but it always works itself out though.
Mhm.
I love
So
it. Did your
yeah.
mom kind of encourage this, like, be more than just an athlete? You can be the best hooper out there and totally crush it, but
Um,
also, like,
Did she
you're
support your fashion
engaged.
I
choices?
Yeah.
love that y'all asked that, because no, she didn't. It wasn't
Okay, that's
until
okay.
I was so she was always but what's so interesting is I love how much she didn't, because she's always in my head like if I'm wearing something what's appropriate. She was a little bit more reserved in her demeanor, whereas I'm just like, this is my costume today,
Mhm.
and so I love that I'm mindful when I'm going to business events or something. I'm going to wear an element of kind of professional with a blazer and things because I knew she always loved that, And so when she finally got Instagram, where it was okay for moms and everyone else to join, she started seeing other people were actually liking my outfits and things, and she kind of rolled her little shoulders back and supported. One cool story, though, like while we're here, is my mom actually got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in 2018, and kind of mentioned like that's when I got inducted into the TCU Hall of Fame. But that's also when I retired just to be present with her, and that was just another experience that's really kind of like shaped a lot of what I do. Helped me put like some purpose into it, and just also gave me something to keep pushing towards, because entrepreneur. Anything like life is hard sometimes, but like I
Mhm.
have such a drive. I'm doing it. I've had this experience with her where unfortunately, she transitioned, but before, like I value this moment that I'm trying to get to is before I had a vision. I was like, I had a vision. I wasn't playing anymore. I was caretaking her during the week. I would thrift shop on the weekends, take photos with my 4 outfits so I can post Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I already have it laid out, have my captions ready. And then I
Oh yeah, your
started
captions were fire
I was
too.
like, God, thank you. Thank you. We'll take a moment for that. Because I take pride in them. I'm like, call me. I'm the friend that you call if you need captions, or I just love that stuff, but it wasn't necessarily, social media wasn't where it was.
Mhm.
I was just doing this because I enjoyed it. But then I watched Girl Boss, and it showed like this girl going after her dream, thrift shopping. And I was like, I got to sell everything in my apartment and get some clothing racks. I have a vision. And I was really getting into this. I pour into it. And my mom was getting a little worried about me because I was like selling furniture on Facebook. She's like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I need that desk to be like, my coffee table needs to be utility. This needs to be
Mhm.
sewing. And it was like maybe 2 weeks, like her health started declining a bit. And I was just like, my spirit was just like, I got to tell her this vision. And I kept having it,
Mm.
and I said, I got to tell her this, and so she had came over and I kind of explained my vision. I was nervous, because my mom's someone I've always seeked her approval.
Mm.
And so I was just like, I just went in, I just forget about it. And I said it and
Yeah.
she sat there for a second and she was just like, well, we're gonna have to get you some hangers. You're gonna need a steamer. You're gonna be. I was like, yes, she's
Ah,
bought in. So
beautiful.
she passed, but like giving me that, you know what I mean? And I felt her so much in times, and so like my company is Studio 33. Just to wrap this is 30 Studio 33, and it's kind of like that was my number. That's what represented me when you would see number
Mm.
33. I was like always like doing philanthropic things like as far as camps and things of that nature with my number when I was a player. So it's kind of like keeping the number, changing the game. And so the game now is like being creative and still finding ways to be purposeful. And I always see her giving me like those nudges. So yeah, she
Mm,
supported. She talked her stuff, she
Yeah.
toughened me up, but I definitely feel like supported in so many ways by her.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, were you 33 at TCU?
I was.
I was
I
33 at
was.
Iowa State. Let's
See, you
go.
should have led with that. I mean, it's that is awesome.
Yeah, I
What
knew I
years
liked
did you play
you.
at Iowa State? Yeah, I knew it. It was something.
Yeah, 9 through
What years were
13.
you at Iowa State?
Oh, 9
What
through
years?
13. Yep.
Yeah. So you came in right when I went out.
Yeah, so we
Um,
You
just
graduated
like
in
we handed it
2009
out.
or 8?
yeah,
29. Okay,
yeah.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's a little bit more.
Oh,
That's a
that's
little bit
great.
more.
Well, too, I know we kind of skipped over a little bit, but
Hmm.
let's rewind a little bit to talk about TCU because like
Okay.
that's a huge part of your story too.
Yeah.
You got inducted into the Hall of Fame. You're an absolute legend from TCU. What were kind of like some of those memorable moments of your time there, and how did it shape you as an
Um,
athlete and a person?
Well, I'd say even just them, it started with like my love for TCU was in ninth grade. They were like one of the first
Oh, you
Wow.
schools to.
knew.
I knew on a spiritual level, and that's how I knew I was a little
Mm.
rebellious because I didn't have any, no offense to TCU, there's not one regret. They know we're in love. But I
Mhm.
didn't have a lot of people around me saying, go to TCU, do this, that, and the other. It was something that I was adamant about following my spirit on, and I did
Interesting.
down to
Yeah.
the end when I committed, but
Yeah.
it really, I just knew the impact it had on me. And I very much love genuine and real and connection and purpose. And I felt that. I maybe didn't know exactly what it was, but I was really drawn to TCU and they would send me mails. They were very consistent. Coach Tidwell, a lot of players, especially in our era, know him. He was recruiting me. And then I'd get to meet more of the staff, coach, just everyone, and I loved them. So
Mhm.
I always kept them there, kept them close. And then as the process went from ninth grade on, I came down. I had to choose my 5 schools. Well, I knew I was going to go to school in Texas, and
Mhm.
I actually committed to Baylor prior to my TCU visit. And when I called TCU to tell them, because and everyone that advised me, it's like you gotta. They're telling me about attendance readings and conferences and this and that. No one's advising. No, not that they didn't think this. Like if I didn't have this experience, I wouldn't have known what I needed. And I can
Mhm.
go back and mentor. But I'm like, how do you feel? Like, are you connected? What
Yeah.
purpose did you see? The way that I seen fashion, I did not see that in Waco or feel that. I very
Mm.
much love Dr. Pepper, and that distribution company was there. That was a sale. That was cool. But like, this was it. And so
Yeah.
when I called them to let them know I was going to Baylor, I think they knew I was calling them. And they said, like, oh, Adrian, we're all in the office right now getting everything ready for your visit. Everyone say hi. And I was like, holy crap. And I put the phone down and I told my mom, I was like, please, can I just go on the visit? I've worked so hard. They're going to send a private jet. They found out that Baylor sent me a
Wow.
private jet. Yes. And it's cool because
Love.
it is a flex, but my town is also that small that we didn't have an airport. So run that
Ooh.
jet, come and
Yeah.
get me.
How far is TCU from Hobbs?
It was only 5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so I went on that. I told my mom, I said, can I just go? I just want to connect.
Mhm.
It's a free trip. But
Right.
I knew I just was excited about everything. I went on the visit. It really connected. I loved the team. I loved it all for all the right reasons. It was very much a in my town, like I'm a big fish in a small pond. I had that vibe, like I felt that comfort on campus. At the time we had less than 8,000 students, whereas now we're huge with 14. But for me, I was like, this is comfortable, this is family.
Yeah.
And so that held true. And then just even too, like the impact that it's just had on my life, like they've always left room for me to come back and forth, work out during my professional career, keep up with my career overseas. I would come direct, work camps, mentor the players, and we've just always had that good relationship. And so, yeah, that's family. Like that's
Yeah.
family.
I love
Mhm.
that. That's so
Mhm.
cool. To jump kind of to the next phase. So you crush it at TCU, make the Hall of Fame, then you achieve a lifelong dream, which is making the WNBA. So you made a WNBA team in 2000 and it was the Comets, right? No, sorry.
Mhm.
The
San
Stars.
Antonio.
San Antonio Stars
Yes.
in 2009. What was that moment like for you when you're like, wow, I am suited up. I achieved this dream, and you went on to play
Yeah.
professionally for 10
And you were the
years.
first TCU guard to
Okay.
Yeah, that's
make
true.
it to
On
the
top of that,
WNBA.
yes.
Y'all, I appreciate y'all running this back, and I got to be completely honest. It is just now hitting me that that all really happened, because I've been on
Mhm.
the go and doing these things, and I think I was more proud to play in the WNBA now, like with all of this than when I was there.
Mhm.
I always seen myself. It was a big dream, but like I always seen myself different and outside of basketball and these things, so the process, I didn't know what to expect because I was one of the first, the pioneer. So I was very much just trying to see, like, okay, I actually didn't get drafted, no one would have expected that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but it wasn't like a disappointment. It was like, okay, this a little awkward because I'm not awkward, and it's like, but what do we do, and so when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, well, I know I've always thought this way. Pivot, like God, what are you saying? What am I supposed to be doing? And so I was like, well, my sister goes to school 3 hours away at Langston University. I've always went in like when I had time to go visit her. It's HBCU. It's family. She's a journalist major. I could always go sit in her classes, and so I went there for a week to work out at Langston, and I was just working out and being present and enjoying it and praying. Like I was just
Mhm.
into it, but it wasn't like a beg. I was like, lead me, and I was working
Mhm.
out, and I got a call, and I was like. So it was really special to me that I was like with my sister having that moment. Being present, realizing like just leaving room for God to do it His way, So playing in the WNBA, it's a bigger dream now, because of that I'm able to put all the things that I love together. I'm able to
Mhm.
create, I'm able to support, I'm able to have a sisterhood, but I'm also too I'm loving it. I'm taking it for what it is, like it's not something I had just have written yet, I'm just still grasping, but it's huge. It's amazing to be a part of the sisterhood. Obviously, with the Aces, we're able to come and reconnect and have
Mhm.
some opportunities, like to recycle some opportunities. You know what I mean? To
Mhm.
come back and kind of enjoy where it's at now. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm in good company. I'm proud of myself though. I'm like, man, you know what? Like it's not that I wasn't drafted and here's a sad story. I got to see myself like go up every single day. I'm playing with Becky Hammond. I'm playing with
Mhm.
Vicky Johnson. I'm playing and I'm and Helen Darlin and I loved my team so much. Even Sandora Irvin and she was my teammate at TCU. So that's very special,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we're there together and I'm just like getting to see myself in practice with the best talent in the world. Like we were Western
Mhm.
Conference champions that year. I was
Yeah.
able to I was a sponge. I was so grateful, like every time we had a huddle, it would be the smallest things. And Becky would say, like, you can't do that when you go overseas. Catch the ball and dribble. I had so many walks.
Oh
The rules
yeah.
change. So she would
Yeah.
tell me, like, when you throw it in, just kind of tap it down and go. I used to tap it down. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like coming up the court, it just felt so smooth.
Yeah.
So,
So
um,
cool.
yeah, it's really cool. Like the things that stayed with me.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm. Mhm.
you and I like how long were you in the league?
I was in there for a year. Yeah, I was a stint.
Okay. Yeah, I was there
Uh-huh.
for like the remainder of San Antonio season. So like
Uh-huh.
it was brief, but like
Yeah.
looking
Did
back
you
on it, like we own it like fully. Like
Yeah.
it's really cool that especially like the Aces bring us back to be a part of that like community and to
Mhm.
share our experiences with other people who have done it. But like
Right.
you and I, a larger portion of our basketball career was spent overseas. Like
Right.
you had like 10 plus years of playing abroad. I
Mhm.
had like 6, 7-ish years.
Yeah.
But like, how many countries did you actually play in?
I'm a creature of habit. So once I got to Poland, I stayed there majority. Like I played
Poland.
4 years
Okay.
there.
Nice.
And that's cool that you played 6 years because I was
Uh,
curious. I knew it was between
yeah,
like
I was in
five. Yeah.
Lublin.
Wow.
Yeah.
We need more time off
And
this,
we
but like
crossed paths
that's
in
like so
Lebanon, but like
yeah.
I dip set it out because I was in
Uh-huh.
not a great
Yeah.
situation, and we were supposed to link up, but we didn't.
Yes. I knew there was like that's when it started, but like we
Yeah.
never connected. But that was really cool. I know nothing about Lublin, but that's like the cool thing about this. We get to hear each other's experiences and but yeah, I played in Poland for 4 years. My first year, I was the only American on the team, so and English wasn't that prevalent, around, and so I had to have a translator, but also too, I'm very independent. I'm like, what are you
Mhm.
translating? I just need to know if that's sugar or if that's flour. I just need to know this.
This
I
is a
don't need
yes or no
them. I
question.
don't need all this extra. Love them to
Yes.
death, but it's also too like I like. You know what? I'm going to call my agent and I'm going to see if he gets paid for this, because we can put those funds towards a class and I will go learn Polish, like, and I
Yes.
think it would be cool. So and I ended
Is
up
this
doing
before
that.
Duolingo times?
So
It
cool.
was before. It was still MapQuest days. Like,
The math
like
quest.
we weren't getting that. So I had a teacher. I took classes at the university, and then she would come to my house, and
Oh
I'd have
wow.
to. When I graduated and got past like the survival mode, she'd come over, and I couldn't say anything to her in English. It was like I opened the door, and
Yep.
she's only going to respond if I say like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo,"
Yeah.
I owe you more
Yeah.
than to do since I took the classes, but then I would have to go and show her like this is a window, and it was like to jest okno, and then she would point to this one. I was like to jest duże okno. That means it's big one. So it
Yeah.
became really cool because I could connect now. The culture, the teammates are like boss. That was my nickname. What did you learn today? So I would always learn something. Come there. I was their experiment.
So
And
cool.
yeah, but then the
Yeah.
coaches, I could translate for the American players. I was very
Yeah.
good with it and it made my experience good. So
Yeah.
that's close to my heart. I played 2 years in Poland. You mentioned Lebanon. I had Turkey, Sweden, Romania, and then I've traveled obviously while being over there. But
Wow.
yeah, it was fun.
Mm.
Totally. I
Yeah,
did the same. I
yeah.
played in Switzerland in the French speaking region in Lausanne. And
Uh
I
huh.
like spent about half my little salary to learn
Okay.
French because I did not
uh,
like being left out. Like, even though
yeah.
my teammates spoke English, when they were like, girls talk, hanging out, vibing, they weren't speaking in English. They were speaking in French. And I'm like, this is the worst.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
And
I'm
you want
going
to
to
know
learn
if you're getting talked about. You also want to know what the coach says, but you could tune it out if you wanted
It's
to.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
didn't know what, I didn't know what
But you
that
know what?
meant.
French is ambitious. I want to learn French, like I still want to learn more languages, but I think that's really cool that we just went that route. That goes to show you can pivot, you can figure it
Yeah.
out, you're open to new
Mhm.
barriers. I think like all that experience, I'm glad it was before social media. And people ask me all the time, could you imagine if NIL was there when you played? I'm like, all the damn time. Yes, I can. But that wasn't my story,
We'd be
and it's so
rolling in it.
yeah, but like I'm like I'm here. That's them now. But I very much like love that I had those experiences where you had to navigate, pivot, open my mind.
Mhm.
Like I now like when it comes to language barriers or culture barriers or all the things going on, I'm able to speak from like other perspectives and
Mhm.
experiences and stuff.
You
So
have to become super adaptable because we're so
yeah.
spoiled in the States, whether that's through having trainers to tape our ankles or take care of our
Mhm.
bodies. And players all the time go overseas. And even today,
Yeah.
they go overseas and they're like, this isn't what I expected.
Mhm.
Or they act like they're owed something. But it's
Yeah.
entirely different league, entirely different countries, and different
Yeah.
expectations for that league. And it is something that builds us up.
I think you make a strong point when you say like we kind of expect it and stuff like that. Sometimes that carries off the court. And that's been one of the most humble things for me is like going from an athlete and yes, you get things and you get celebrated and things like you don't everything doesn't get celebrated,
Hmm.
and you don't have that reinforcement all the time, but it's kind of good, because sometimes this is like what is that really watering? Like is that my soul or my ego, and like that.
Mhm.
And so I've had to like I've been in so many situations to where I really recognize when you're entitled or when you, and that's not a way to be, you know? And I
Mm,
think sometimes that's one of the hardest things from a transition when I have to talk to athletes. I'm like, you kind of let some of that go. Like, even I know I'm super talented and I can't wait to do all the things I'm capable of doing. But when I started out in this fashion industry, like I came in as shadowing, as back end y'all. I don't have another one in me, Lord forbid, like put that out there. But the amount that I did because I knew what it takes to get good at something and to work on something. So I was always just like coming in learning, and it was very humbling because I'm like, you don't just get it handed to you. So
Mhm.
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and those trainers and things, those are luxuries. Like I'm in my
Mm.
contract looking at things like, okay, can you at least get me a microwave sometimes? Like the
At least
littlest
some
things,
Wi-Fi. We need
like,
Wi-Fi
yeah,
at a
when you please
minimum.
Wi-Fi, like,
Is when you say fully furnished apartment, is the kitchen in
yeah.
a different room than my bed?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, all that.
So wild. Well,
Mhm.
speaking
But yeah.
about that like athlete mindset and kind of pivoting into your next play,
Hmm.
we mentioned in the bio that you are the CEO and founder of Style by Studio 33. What was
Hmm.
your mindset going into like, I'm gonna start my own company, rolling up your sleeves. You have experience in the fashion industry, but you're kind of like back on that journey of like
Hmm.
you're not, you haven't made the WNBA on your first day out yet. Like we all know there's
Yeah.
a journey towards getting towards excellence. So yeah, tell us about that mindset and what went into first starting Style by Studio
Um,
33.
Okay, that's a really good question. But and I always had a vision for women's basketball. Even when I was the face of a program, or
Hmm.
that I was like, this would be cool if we could do this, or if I could do. And I was always putting ideas somewhere and dreaming. Like literally dreaming. But I would take steps. Action steps. I would
Yeah.
try it. I would be crazy or all these things, but it kind of aligned with where the times were. Now is opportunities to, like, I'm like, this is a place to put that. I've always
Hmm.
thought fashion, and like I would always show up at team events very much like, well, Lord, what she have on now, and I was like, it's important. This
Yes.
is like, this is, I've always had this vision, and so like for it's 2020. I've already been, like, I sat on the board with
Mm,
TCU when it comes to Block T Letterman's Association, and it's
cool.
basically like getting to be a part of, like, what are we actively doing for our alumni to keep us together, and I'm also able to take like my experience, what I could use in all of us. So I'm having all this going on in my head. I'm done playing basketball, I'm trying to figure it out, and I get this opportunity to work for a global nonprofit called, and it was a startup, and I'm learning like how to start a company, and how to give back, and how the, like, just all how that works. And this was for someone else's vision, but then 2020 had happened, and so now the world shuts down. This is pre Studio 33, mind you. I've already had the vision in regards, that's where we were, and this is one where I'll re-answer that question, because I'm like,
Hmm.
let me put these pieces together.
Mm.
We're gonna exit that, girls. But like, to answer your to answer your question, so I have always had the vision to do like what I'm doing. I just haven't had a place to put it,
Mhm.
and then actually too, I just didn't know it was possible. I just always knew there was a need. When I was a
Mhm.
player, I knew the importance of image consulting and
Yes.
representation, and I know how I wanted to be received, and I always felt limited in that regard.
Mhm.
Kind of felt in the box, but I would try to do the most I could in that box for sure.
Yeah. Would you
Um,
say that it all kind of like you were kind of leaning into the Studio 33, like it hadn't fully developed when you retired in 2018? Like
yeah,
you said you, I think in our, like we kind of talked about this in our prep call, but like you retired to take care of your mom. And then on the weekends, you would kind of like dip your toe
yeah,
into that
dive in.
creativity. Was that
Mm.
kind of like the outlet for that creativity that kind of sparked Studio 33?
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I had no idea where it was going. I think like seeds were being from the thrifting, and from even just going to location scout. Sometimes when I get hired by schools or brands and stuff, I have to go and find that location. I would do that for the fun, like, okay, I have an outfit in there with the red. How am I going to pull this with the aesthetic and all of these things? Oh, that's going to look good on on my feed. Whereas now, no, that's going to look good in a magazine. That's going to look good on brochure. That's going to look good for marketing, or. And so it was always kind of like teaching me along the way in my own route. And so yeah, it started with that. And then whenever I retired, I went into corporate philanthropy. I was still doing
Okay.
my training businesses, and I went in like so excited because I just wanted to change the world.
Yeah.
And I had an opportunity, like I'm like, I have a job opportunity. It was someone in Fort Worth, so it was going to pull me back from New Mexico and put me around my ecosystem. I love TCU. I don't know Fort Worth, but I know TCU, So whenever I came back, I started reaching out to creatives, nonprofit organizations, everyone in Fort Worth to see how I could bridge the gap. And I wasn't thinking fashion yet. I was thinking philanthropist, and
Mm-hmm.
community relations. And so I was doing that with intention and getting that experience, getting to see how you build a company. Now that I'm getting exposed to it, I didn't know I was going to start my own, but when I took that leap of faith, I'm like, I've been a sponge just like I was in that huddle with the San Antonio Silver Stars, and I learned the benefit of like really knowing you're in the room for purpose. Like whenever I walk in the room with someone, you meet a lot of cool people, but you have to remember you're cool in there too. It's not who you know, it's who you are, and that's enough. You
Mm.
always, always. And so in that moment, I kind of was like, okay, this is cool. I'm learning some things, but the world shut down. Now it's 2020. Now I'm like, well, I learned how to make reels. I'm going to make content. I'm going to do, and I'm starting to get like, this is fun. We're engaging, and next thing you know, like I started saying like, okay, I'm going to take my fashion ideas and I'm going to implement them in this company that I work for, and we're going to have benefits and fashion and things of that nature. And it was just like kind of resistance. It wasn't that I don't trust you. It wasn't that, but I'm like, I feel boxed in then. Like I'm the face of this nonprofit organization that supports um, education and social issues and things of that nature. And I'm just sitting here, like
Mm.
I am social issues. I am education. I have to get out there. So I was very confused. And that's whenever I started thinking, like, you know what? I'm going to learn more for myself just in case then, like I wasn't sure. So I would get on webinars. I would get mentors. I would build my pitch deck, and I just went for it. And I can go on
Mm.
and on, but I eventually just started putting like a frame on it, taking inquiries, okay,
Mhm.
learning image consulting, learning different packages, learning how now that NIL is coming, okay, how can I create a project that can help these young athletes be themselves or authentically,
Mhm.
increase your value while you're in the sport and then find creative ways to hold it when you're after the sport.
Mhm.
And so I put it in a business. I can go on and on, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's very cool. Every project is new. It helps me shape it. It helps me shape myself. It's coming
Mhm.
together. I know it's needed. I'm most proud that I work with team and people and like not alone. Like I was like,
Mhm.
that's something that stuck with me. I want a team.
Do
Yeah.
you
I
do,
want I want that.
yeah, do you work on a
Yeah.
team with Style by Studio 33, and I know we mentioned the Adidas Global Partnership
Hmm.
or as a partner. Like do you work
Yeah.
on both a team setting in both spaces?
Yeah, I very much rely on it because being this creative, I know my skills. Like I'm type A, I can lead. I've been a point guard, a team captain, and all of
Yeah.
those things. But the cool thing about like creating is like you just want something beautiful. It's not competing. We're not trying to win. It's like, and so I'm really much like working with people that know things in their lane and in their space.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
I feel confident and I also need a team. Like at first, I didn't think I did because I'm like, no, I don't know how to delegate. I can't, feel it
Me
just doing
neither.
all this weird stuff.
Mm.
Yes. So, but when I started realizing how much fun it is and how some people on the team, like, this is what they love to do, let them do that. This is what. And I've always predicated on build a team so strong, no one knows who the boss is.
Yeah.
And that is really translating. It's taking some time, but my business partner, Allison, she's been one of my best friends since 2008, and I've always lived through her. I would come back from overseas, go visit her in LA. She's modeling, she's with agencies, she's working corporate and all these things. And every summer I would come back with like questioning if I want to go back, but not having other options. Well, what would I do? I would go watch her and live through it. And there she's like seeing me, like, you can do it, just do this. I never got around to it. And then after, when I was working at nonprofit, we crossed paths at a community event, during 2020. And I was watching her, and I was already kind of building Studio 33, and I was watching Allison, and she's living here in Dallas, and I was watching her, and she's got the clipboard, she's got everybody in line, she's set up, and like, here's the food, the cars are directing, and I was like, I just saw her on set. I saw her like, I trust her. She knows this life. She cares about the community. We're friends, you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
not too close because she's sharp in business. She works for the, I was just like, that's my girl. And I went and wrote her name down and continued planning and working. And I did not meet with her until 8 months later when I got the like affirmation, like, it's time. That's God. And we sat
Wow.
and we met, Trapper Keepers, papers. I thought she thought I was crazy, and she soaked it all up. And she added, and we've been with each other every time. So she facilitates a lot of the projects. We're still building and stuff. So she's usually on calls, interviews. She's amazing. Really gets it. Really here for us, for Black women, for children, like just pure.
Yeah.
Very
Mhm.
genuine. So I'm like really happy to learn from her every day. She's on calls all the time, so she keeps me sharp. I'm able to
She
ask. I
helps you
don't
with your
have that.
tech stuff.
She helps me. She keeps it together. Like no one asked. Yeah, heck yeah. You call
Yeah.
me geriatric, and I said that is wildly true. I can't be
Oh,
offended.
funny.
But
Yes.
yeah, so she's great. She helps manage a lot of that. I keep Studio 33 and Adidas separate. I went into it with that in mind to do that because I
Mhm.
know how special and what a blessing it is to work for them. But I also too love what I'm doing and have here, and I feel like I'm glad that they're both right there. Where I can learn and I can apply and I can grow and still work with other brands and people and it be about us, not necessarily all the things I'm learning.
Mm.
And gotten to see what fits best for me. But
Mhm.
yeah, I work with a team, and then per project, sometimes we source different photographers, videographers, makeup artists. It just depends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Adrian, I'm curious, like just doing a scroll of your Instagrams and being able to follow you the last couple of months. I've seen you work with some incredible athletes. You've worked
Hmm.
with Angel Reese at LSU. You've styled my girl Ari Chambers. Shout out to
Oh
Ari, holding
yes,
it
we
down
love
for women's
Ari.
sports. Styled TCU women's basketball, LSU women's basketball more largely. What have those experiences been like for you to kind of you as professional athlete, knowing what those athletes go through, always loving style, but helping those athletes to unlock their own personal style and really express themselves in a really cool way.
I think that's the coolest part is just being able to see them up close. You know what I mean? Because they have such huge like visibility and they're out there and they're doing the work. But when you get that time, like I take my work so serious. I don't even want to put it on anyone that I don't take serious. Like
Mm,
to be able to work with them and just know like I'm able to do something and add value and help them, and be inspired because even when I was building this, I was relying on a lot of women athletes' social media, like when they're standing up and they're having to, go for it and understand the importance of being, strong and all these things. So when I work with them, it's really like it's more spiritual. It's just like this is where I'm aligned, like we're out
mhm.
here. But it's also too, I try to be sister, like just comfortable, not,
Yeah.
just chill. Like when I meet, it's so chill, and it feels good to do that because if I didn't have the basketball experience and that background to kind of be on there, I'd be like, holy shit, I'd probably just put this
Yeah.
on. I can't
Fangirling.
even focus. Like this is
Right.
awesome. But for me, I'm like, it's purposeful. I love what they're doing. I love when I get to be a part of their journey. Like a lot of times when I've had those opportunities, I'm not trying to ride their momentum. I'm happy. I want to stay balanced and I want them to like be a springboard and like watch you go. See how far that shirt can go. See how you're
Mhm.
handling. See how you're wearing this energetically. And so
Mhm.
I love being connected to them and watching them like thrive and put on and just understand the assignments and stuff. I think we're going to have a lot more creative opportunities with us because we get together and we're just kids. We're like, oh, I want to
Yeah.
put this on. I want to. It's like skip all the other stuff. You get to really just have fun together. So
I
yeah,
love
they're
that.
feeling it.
Speaking of like the people you've worked with, are there any projects that you're like really proud of that
Yeah.
you've had the opportunity to be a part of?
Yeah, I've loved every project because I get to bring on new people and they get to see the vision and it's just different. So I appreciate it all. I think the ones that I'd have to like I'd say the TCU Media Day one, because that was something I like it was God given a vision the first. I don't know how this is going to go. It's
Mhm.
so many like having to communicate. Hell, I learned a lot, but it really helped me shape my business as
But
well
tell
because
our listeners what that TCU
project. So it was
because
a
yeah, because you won
yeah.
awards for it.
Yeah, I did. Listeners, listen. No,
Let's
I'm joking.
go.
Yes,
So,
listen, listeners.
listen, listeners. No, so I had this vision. Like I said, I'd played, and I was always in the position where if I were, this is what I would have wanted to experience as a player. So I wanted to give them this media day package that was going to be coming out around the time that NIL opportunities and things were. So I really wanted to dive into it. And like, one of my things that I say, it's not what's on you, it's what's in you. Shout out to Nipsey because that's why I keep it close. I really, really love Nipsey Hussle.
Hmm.
But at this time, like I was just thinking, okay, I got to help them tap into fashion. Like I feel like a spiritual stylist in this sense. And so I put together this team. I put together and I came in with questionnaires. First of all, I had to get the opportunity. So shout out to the staff that were like, yes, we trust you and we know you love us and we're going to give you this opportunity and let it change your life. And so I was grateful for that. But then also too, I'm like, okay, cool, now move. I got to lock in. I'm
Yes.
not the same when I'm locked in, like, and so I was locked in and I put together these questionnaires, and it was just like, what are your pronouns? What are your favorite occasions to get dressed for? Choose 5 styles that best represent your personal style, from t-shirts to jerseys to girly to tomboy to, whatever, and making them think like, I've never really thought like that. This is what
Yeah.
represents me. This is what I gravitate towards. Okay, well, that's okay. This is accepted. Helping them just tap in. What's an Instagram page that helps you be a better person? Which one
Mhm.
makes you be a better dresser. And I was able to go to those pages, look at the questionnaires, laugh, because it was even some things like, what are some styles you most absolutely won't, what is something you won't wear?
Yeah.
And people were like Crocs, capris. I think they were saying things that I actually had on. I was like,
Oh
okay, well,
no.
but it
Not
was
me.
cool though. Yeah. You're like, nah, it's not it. But so I was like getting to know them, and then I would write the notes on. I even said, choose a song that you can listen to on repeat while getting ready. So they're putting their Megan the Stallion, they're putting this, that, and the other, but not knowing that after I received those questionnaires back, I was able to look at it with my team, and I was going to say, okay, we're going to put them in this look. Now the concept of the shoot was for the posters and the marketing and stuff, so everything had to have an element of purple, different concepts of. So I was like, okay, I got to find height and all the challenges from beginning being a stylist with no experience, and so long story short, they come in and they have a mini consultation. I'm also giving them the opportunity to see what it's like to be professionally styled and work on set. So anyways, they come in, and when they walked into their consultation, they were listening to the song that they had on the list, and they got to see the outfits that we picked up for them and what they'll be wearing on set. We put together the run show, like really detail oriented. If she was from France, she was wearing her beret. If she liked this, she
Cute.
was
Love.
wearing the, like, and I was making sure we pulled that out. They all loved it. It came to life. When I got done, I was like, whoa, just happy it was done because it was so much work, like humbling, like I
Yeah.
couldn't even enjoy it or understand the magnitude of what I was doing, but um, like it always does, it comes around, and we did win a National Marketing Media Award with the TCU Marketing Department, and so that was huge, affirmative.
Yeah.
And then I got the same opportunity to rinse and repeat and do that with LSU the following year that they won the national championship. And I'm like, okay, God, I can't
Epic.
even
Yeah.
keep up. I can't explain everything that I'm doing. I'm just going to do my best to do it, and trust that. Because at first, when I started it, I was putting my marketing, like I can't go anywhere until I get my marketing and they know what I'm doing. Then when I put it out there, I'm like, they're just taking my ideas and running. This is where the sauce is. Like, wait, like I just
Mhm.
gotta lock in and do it and trust it's doing it a different way. So that's the project. And I have done it a few times. I got to do it with the Atlanta Dream. I was like, there's my first WNBA contract as a creator. That was something to celebrate.
Let's
Um,
go.
yeah, it was some cool
That's
things.
incredible.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
So
I
cool,
don't do it
Adrian.
alone.
Yeah, no, but still, yeah,
Yeah,
I know you have an incredible team behind you. And also, you are incredible yourself. And you, as a leader and
thank
a
you.
point guard, being able to bring that vision to life is really, really powerful and beautiful. And our listeners, we will be linking all of her IG links and website link and all the things to the show notes. So you got to check her out and yeah, bring her on if you need some style consulting or have any great projects. Also, Adrienne, I wanted to bring it back to something you spoke to a little bit in the beginning of the podcast, but you've talked to us about the importance of representation and really using your platform to inspire others. So, my question is, how do you hope to impact and inspire future generations? And I know, particularly, um, a group close to your heart is young women of color, both in
Mhm.
sports and fashion. So, yeah, what does that impact look like for you?
Man, I always say that like I want to be remembered for like what my heart can do, a philanthropist. I've
Mm,
always thought that. Like my brother even told me growing up, someone close to me and knowing this. I have really great siblings, by the way. Let me add that, and I'm a middle child, so I'm like, oh,
yes.
the guardrails they are, But but my brother, he would say like, if Cheryl Swoops and Mother Teresa had like a child, it's like you, because he's like knew
Beautiful.
my heart, and
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. You can't make yourself love something so much, but I do love people. I love
Mm,
purpose. I love God, and it's like what we can
mm,
do with those alone and through me. So I really want to leave that. I think that I'm being stretched right now to see people outside of the box of just an athlete. The more I see I can do, the more I can show what you can as well. I used to go and speak to kids and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to speak to young athletes. But now I'm like, no, raise your hand if you love basketball. And all these hands go up. But now I'm like, raise your hand if you like gaming. Raise your hand if
yes.
you like this. Raise your hand if you like that.
Yes.
Okay, take what you love and then apply what I love. And now I'm talking to everyone, and
Mm,
even now I have an inquiry where I'm styling someone that's kind of like, transitioning and becoming he is him. He's a good,
hmm
I don't know exactly what he goes by yet, but I know I'm going to dress him like a bad bee. And I'm like,
Yes.
I have to lean into this with him, like, and it's really stretching me and not caring. And that's what I love about styling and expression. So I do want to be able to be that representation, but I also too know like I don't get these opportunities and in these rooms without having to I have to open the door. I have to make more room. I have to send the elevator back down. I have to speak up when I know what's wrong and what's right. I have to collaborate. Like there's a lot of women and people in general that just know things that I do not know. Okay, well let me share the stage with this person. Let me stand back and show like you can be here and not know it all. And so
Hmm.
if I keep like living that for myself and it's a process, but if I keep doing that, I'll be happy with my legacy, as far as like this is the kind of person, this is how she lived. But I do want to encourage that because I've been encouraged by so many other people that speak up, and even in this time, where it's just like our country has got a lot going on, and it's
hmm
like we are going, what boat do I need to rock? Like, what do I need to do? Because God gave me all this and He wants it to be good and He wants it to be loved. There's no
hmm
division in my vision. So, like,
hmm
what do I need to do in that moment? And I always want to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to, like when I
Mm.
get in those spaces. And I have,
Yeah.
like, I meet myself where I'm at. I'm not trying to I'm just trying to do what I'm called to do. And so that's what I do want to leave. It's just like room for people to be themselves, to give that grace, to be loved, to not just
hmm
like be a stylist or a basketball player, creator. Like I just want to leave an imprint or an impact. And so luckily I do have a vision, so I can put it there, and you can see my work, or you can see the outfits, or connect to people.
Mhm.
But I just want to leave like a legacy of love because that's like what my mom left for
hmm
sure, and I'm
Mhm.
Beautiful.
passing that
Yeah.
torch. And yeah,
Amen.
I think it's really
yeah.
cool to like even just like as long as I've followed you on social media, like throughout your story, like I've seen like your stories of these different
hmm
pieces of like the seasons of your life and things. But you like, I
hmm
think what is at the core and like the pulse of who you are is like you've always been authentically you, which allows other people to be authentically them.
That's
and
cool.
and it's like really cool to see and actually hear your story finally,
Mhm.
because like and you're actually like not just saying it, you're doing it. And I mean it's just really cool. Kudos to you for
Thank
like
you.
doing everything that you say you're going to do, and you're also allowing people to do it themselves and opening those kind of doors.
Mm-hmm.
Well said and well received because that made me feel good. And I know like it's a mutual thing, like I'm like, this is love. So it's really cool to
Yes.
be able to connect, to talk to women. Like everything I do at that time is the biggest deal in my life right now. So like I've been bragging on this podcast today. Like they interview, astronauts and Olympians and you name it, and I'm right there. Like,
Yes.
so what y'all are
Yes.
doing and the space and the way that y'all see me and stuff like that, I'm like, we're all on the same scoreboard. So
Mhm.
hmm
yeah, this is good.
Good.
Yeah. So
Well,
flowers to y'all. Flowers
oh,
to
thank
y'all.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We try. We
Yeah.
try. To kind of not end our podcast, but before we get to the lightning round of all the fun questions, we always like to ask this question. What piece of advice do you have for our listeners looking to pursue their passions and make the world a better place?
Yeah, feel connected to it. Don't just do it. Like
Mm,
there's a lot of templates out there. There's a lot of cookie cut. You can find something and run with it. But if you want it to be fulfilling, it's just like find what like pushes you, what wakes you up. And that seems very cliche until I started getting woken up and doing these things. And it's usually connected to something bigger than you. So you have to tap in with God. You have to tap in with
mhm,
yourself. Be still. It's the hardest thing for me to do. I feel grounded when I have to be still, but it's like so much comes with that. My sister's a yoga instructor, and I've got to spend a lot of time with her over these last few months in Portland, and she's really just been pouring and showing me the importance of that. And so it's like maybe try yoga. I don't know. Do what works for you. Don't listen to everybody,
mm,
but that's kind of what works for me. So I just encourage to keep going, like never retreat. Like, well, yeah, retreat too. If you have to pull back, sometimes it's that pullback that can get you even further ahead.
right. Yep.
Get to see the court, see the vision, like rethink. And so just be easy on yourself, keep going, keep God close.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I believe in
amazing.
everybody. So I'm like, just don't be weird and mean to people. Let's just be kind. Like, let's do this, guys. We can.
Yes,
There's
yes.
room.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great word, Adrienne.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, so we are going to jump to now what we call our lightning round. So essentially,
I
we're going
love
to
it.
ask you 5 questions, and you have 30 seconds each to answer each question. So quick, rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yeah, me trying to wrap up, say something quick is funny. This is okay, lightning.
Let's
All
see how we do.
right.
Let's see how we do. Okay, first question. If you could choose one person, dead or alive, to have dinner with, who would it be and why?
Oh, look, I would have to choose obviously my mom, like have
Mm,
dinner and stuff like that. But since I only have a few seconds, that really makes me grateful that when she was present, I was very grateful to share her meal, tell her how good she cooked, knew that it was a blessing, to be eating and things of that nature. So it's like, goodness, like I would love that dinner, but I get to tell y'all to like enjoy eating and sharing that with someone, but I would eat with
mm,
her and
yeah,
talk and stuff. She's very funny and witty and things. So that's my girl.
beautiful. Love.
Mm, that's awesome. Second question. What's one fashion trend you wish you wish would make a comeback and one that you'd gladly leave in the past?
I don't know. I'm not a time person. I just put it on and I love it. But cowboy boots are back, are
Yes.
here or whatever. They're becoming a trend. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep pushing that just even more. You know what I mean? I'm like, even get more creative with the boots and styling
Mm-hmm.
and things and incorporate and wear with everything. I'm talking sweats, jeans, pants, dresses, you just name it, because they're an energy. So if you let them go, welcome them back and see what they do for you.
Love, love.
Like, go
Okay,
boots.
who has the best drip in the NBA and the WNBA? So you can pick one for each.
Drip. And the NBA.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick two WNBA.
Okay,
All
Pick
right.
two
perfect. Two
WNBA
WNBA. We
because
love it.
I got to shout out to other stylists because so many are doing what we cross paths, we huddle up. Madi, Sid, these are two that you can maybe add photos and show
Yeah,
their work,
Sid
but
is
they're
great. I
styling
just met her
everyone.
at
You know,
WNBA and like she's
yes,
phenomenal. Yes, she
yes,
dresses
Courtney Mays. I'm
Kelsey
seeing
Plum,
new
I think.
people. Like I love the style. Everybody,
Yeah.
like I'm here to support that. But the drip, I would have to give. I like Diamond. The shields, I feel like it's genuine. It's fashion. I like
Mm,
her style. I'm trying to see people that's not biased that I didn't style.
yeah.
I like Golden Piece. I'm gonna do all her stuff because she's styling Izzy and a lot of the wings, and it's unique too.
Mm-hmm.
Love.
I'm gonna share with everybody. I
Yeah.
can't do that, y'all. Don't do that to me.
I love whoever's styling Nafisa Collier lately. She's been fire.
She has been fire.
Listen, I wish that times weren't going so fast so we can just line them all up, look at them. You know what I mean? Like it's so fast, these outfits they're going, and I'm seeing so much, and like they're slaying. Like these are supermodels and cool
Hmm.
people, and I'm like, we got it.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yes,
it's a thing.
it is. All right,
Mhm.
fourth question. If you could instantly master any new skill or hobby outside of basketball or fashion, what would it be?
Such a good question. I would learn another language. Oh,
Which
and I would
one?
also go back. I would learn German. Don't
German.
ask.
Okay. Why not?
And then also, I would also go back to school for like art and design, and
Mm,
just really connect and like forget about my entire basketball past, like get to know this person, and like really see what they can do because you water your skills and look how good I got playing basketball. Like I
mm,
didn't have no one watering me. I'm still trying to like, but I
Mm.
got this.
Yeah,
you got
for
this.
sure. All right, last question. What's one motto or quote you like to live by?
um I have a lot. My teammates just call me Gandhi because I was just always
I
saying
told
deep
Bree this one
stuff.
would be good one for you because you love your
I'm
quotes.
like, what should I say? Like rolls out notes. I say clout is not my currency. That's something that I'm currently looking at that's written right here. And I've been saying that and I'm going to go with it because shout out if it is, but it's a different energy when that's the way that you're moving. And since I
Mm,
know that my blessings haven't come from going that route, I'm going to be over here,
yeah.
Hmm.
and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. I have to tell myself that.
Mm.
But that's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I love it. Well, Adrianne, it's been so awesome to have you on the show and learn about your story and to kind of like tap into like all these different seasons of your life and like where you're at now and all the things that you're accomplishing and projects that you're a part of. Thank you for joining the show. To any of our listeners, if you want to follow Adrianne's journey, where she's at, we'll provide like all of her social media for you guys to tap into her and pay attention to her story and everything that she's a part of. We'll also have like a lot more information about Adrianne in our show notes too. So thankful for you to join our podcast. Thanks, Adrianne.
Loved it,
Thank you,
guys. Thank
Adrian.
y'all. Thank you. Thank you.